Hey, what's going on everyone? This is AcroYoga coming back with another AcroYoga video for y'all this evening. So we're going through some of the old content pre-COVID, shenanigans you could say, that I had stored on the phone, and we're just kind of reviewing it, making sure that, once all this is over with and we get back to, jamming regularly, whether we jam with masks or whatever you may have it, we don't lose our practice. So we're just kind of going over some things here, seeing what's happening. Here I was practicing some low hand-to-hands, but hey, yeah, don't forget, y'all, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know that y'all are enjoying this content. Let me know what acro moves y'all have been practicing, what y'all been practicing at home. Comment down below. Let me know what you're working on right now. I'd be very interested to see what we could share with each other too. I know that I'm posting on a few forums and stuff like that, such as the Reddit page, the AcroYoga Reddit page. So if you're here from the Reddit page, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can share some content and skills together. So here, practicing some low hand-to-hands with Hannah. She actually used to teach this, so I was getting some good pointers. I really don't have a good hand-to-hand, especially a low hand-to-hand. I think low hand-to-hands are a little bit harder for me. I prefer the extended hand-to-hands, but mostly only during L-basing. So I have been working on it a little bit, and I feel a little bit more comfortable during the extended hand-to-hands. If anything, I think that I just have more stability that way. I can keep everything in line with my shoulders, although some people might say that low hand-to-hands are easier to start off with, but I think maybe it's a lack in the forearm strength, if anything, because as soon as we start to go flat, then that's when kind of things fall apart. Here, practicing some aerial flips for y'all, so hopefully I haven't lost all my flips yet, but this was one of the flips I had been working on, so I had finally gotten that down, and that was pretty nice. But here, practicing a pass the flyer group group flow. So I think we were trying to work on a few different things here. This was one of the pass the flyers that we had come up with. Pass the flyer is just a game that you play with two bases, and then you have one flyer, or whether it's two flyers, however you want to do it, and then you just kind of work on a different flow from there on out. But I don't think we were very successful there either. Here, practicing some different variations with pop, side stars, with Daniel acro climber. So these were ones that I was struggling with, as you can tell, but they were something that I really wanted to get down, and I never really got a chance to practice them too much. But this is why I'm reviewing the video, just to see exactly what we're doing here, and then go back and reference it later. It's actually a really nice drill for warming up, pops. So a lot of pops involved. Flyer, he's pretty much doing a lot of the work here and just kind of walking me through some things. But yeah, this was one move that I haven't really quite remembered it just yet how it goes. It looks like the flyer has to switch hands, and then they tick-tock, then we pop it. Okay, so I'll have to go back and review that one a little bit, make sure I can get that one down again once we start acroing again, and all this fun stuff. So here, working on another routine with our good friend who moved away not too recently. So but this was one of the flows that we had started to work on, and it was a croc, or it was actually a bicep stand to a boat pose, and then rolling into like a bird on hands, which is pretty cool. So when she starts in the croc pose or in the bicep stand pose, then she kind of rolls her back through. This was actually a move that we learned from Max and Liz when Max and Liz were still teaching in Dallas too. So that was a fun move, and then we roll into the bird on hands, which was a part that we added onto there specifically for ourselves. So very fun stuff. That was one I haven't really worked on with anyone else, so maybe I'll have to try it with some other people too as well. Practicing my aerials once again, as you can see. I also had a nice front tuck and a back tuck too as well. So those were some things that I had also been working on when we did have access to a gym. So here, working with another flyer as well. I believe I've worked with this flyer before in one of the videos that I had recently posted not too long ago. But in my description here, what I was trying to do was if y'all are familiar with the move monkey frog roll, so monkey frog roll, but adding a pop to that. So basically you skip a step during this monkey frog roll to pop all the way back into the reverse throne. Now we didn't start in reverse throne, but technically that's where the flyer would start, and then they would waterfall a you know, quote unquote back bend, and then find a shoulder stand where we're at now. So the full move would be for the flyer to lift the hips over and then back into that roll position. So what I was trying to accomplish here, and I haven't really done this in a while. I remember someone from the other communities, you know, close by in the surrounding states came to Acro with us, and he showed us this cool move here, and it was a pop to the monkey frog roll, but skipping basically the like the lifting of the hips over. It was kind of skipping like the shoulder stand in a sense, but the flyer really has to crunch through and then find, and then I find my feet underneath her thighs to complete the roll. So here we are finding the shoulder stand, and then what the flyer would do is bring the knees into the elbows, and then we'd roll into that monkey frog positioning. So yeah, basically we got the whole move down. As you can see, that's the whole monkey frog roll. But what we were trying to do was basically make it a lot smoother and kind of pop through the shoulder stand. So instead of stopping at the shoulder stand, it would be one fluid motion, and then we would go all the way back into that reverse throne position. So I don't think we quite accomplished it. I don't think I've really accomplished it with maybe one other flyer, if anything. But I think it takes a lot of flyer balance. I think it takes also, you know, really just trying to figure out exactly what we were doing, because I couldn't reference a video of it necessarily. I just remembered them demonstrating it to us, and then I think I tried it maybe once and got through it. But relatively hard move. I don't think it requires a big pop from the hips or from the back, the lower sacrum area where my feet are. But I think that the flyer just kind of lifts off. I just kind of give a little boost, the flyer lifts off, and then the knees come straight to the elbows, and then she would roll through. I would catch her underneath the thighs. So I think we were struggling a little bit here, but you know, I think this was our first time to kind of practice it ever as well too. So definitely not going to get it right away, but it is one of the routines that I would like to add back to my flows, and maybe end up trying to replicate the monkey frog roll with the pop in it. So yeah, and kind of finding it there, but then I think the knees need to come right to the elbows immediately, and then that would initiate the roll back through to that seated throne positioning. So trying it once again maybe to see if we can get it. But you know, patience and understanding and communication is everything in this fun environment. So almost there, not quite there just yet, but I think we kind of got pretty tired, and we I don't know if we ended up getting this one down. So that'll be one that I'll have to work on, especially the one that we just saw with you know, Daniel and me basing him in the straddle pops to side star pops basically too. And what was really difficult about those was that they were with 1 foot. So it was a pop with 1 foot, and pops with 1 foot are not easy at all. So I'm used to popping with both feet up into the air, but popping with just 1 foot is not very easy. Now that was actually really good. That looked better, to be honest. So maybe not as fluid as we would like to get it, but that was essentially what we were going for, was the pop, and then immediately back into that reverse straddle throne positioning. So yeah, and so she's bringing in the elbows a little bit quick. I mean, she's bringing in the knees to the elbows a little bit quicker, and that obviously helps the roll initiate a little faster too as well. And then I obviously have to find my own balance, but I think I would have to bring her shoulders and my hands down towards my hips, so that way she could kind of bring more of that roll into place, and then she would push herself up from where she's grabbing on my forearms. So I think right there, I would just have to bring her down just a little bit more, so that way my feet are positioning just in time. But honestly, we got it once, and that looked really good. So yeah, I was surprised. I'm actually surprised to go back and rewatch this and say, oh, I did do that at one time. And now whenever I practice again, I can be like, hey, I did that move before, but I can't do it right now anymore. I just don't have the people to do it with, maybe. So everyone's kind of just you know, cooped up in their own little bubble at home right now, trying to, you know, stay fit for the most part. So I don't blame them, you know. I mean, it is what it is, but I think hopefully, if anything, we'll start jamming soon. I think it'll be on everyone's own prerogative, whether or not they want to jam. If they don't, they can stay home, kind of thing. You know, when we are at the jams, we have our hand sanitizer, make sure that we have our masks, you know. And I think that that's just taking extra precaution. If anyone says anything, and just be like, hey, like, you know, we are still about, you know, we have our masks, and it is what it is, you know. And whether or not you want to wear them, it's up to you, I guess. but you know, we're trying to do what we can. I think a lot of people are getting a little stir crazy, you know, inside the houses right now too. So, you know, I'm going on my daily walks, and that's always fun to do as well too. And I encourage y'all to do the same. So here is our good friend Alyssa working with, I think, Daniel acro climber as well. But this was a fun move that I also wanted to learn, and I don't think I ever got it. It's kind of like a revolution move. So it's actually opposite side star. Now that I look at this, it transfers to the opposite side star. So very interesting. I'll have to slow this one down just a tad bit and maybe work on it with the flyer. So side star to the lower back. And then this is a really cool one. I don't know the name of this, to be honest. I wish I knew the name of it, but here they're doing it with no hands, as you can see. But Daniel's a really smooth bass, so you know, I always looked up to him whenever he was in town to teach us some new flows, if anything. So very cool. Here working with another flyer, Emily. Super fun, super fun. Always smiling. To work with. So this was actually during one of our seasonals, and I believe this is actually where I learned the pop monkey frog roll too, as well. I don't know if those people are in the video here at all, but here working on some barrel rolls. These would actually be, I think, called low barrel rolls. You know, acro is very the terminology is very subjective, because I think people can call the moves different things as well. But basically from here we're going star to folded leaf, back into star, adding a little twist there. So this is actually a really hard move to fly. I give it up to flyers, to be honest, a lot, because flying is not easy, and you know, just trying to stay balanced in the air upside down the whole time just takes a lot of practice. And just you know, having the awareness. You know, whenever we get into like being in the air and upside down, we call it aerial awareness, and that it's quite a challenge, to be honest. And I'll do it every once in a while, but that move is pretty hard, because you really have to position the hips when you're upside down, and learning how to balance the hips and rotate the hips when you're upside down is pretty challenging as well. So here practicing, I think, some big lemoys. Big lemoy is a fun move too. I always try to tell my flyers to point their toes, but usually if they're yogis, they're so used to flexing them. I've been working with the flyer here not too long ago, and they were, you know, they're a yoga teacher, but they always flex their feet, and so we just wanted to look very, I guess, pleasing to the eye. And you know, if they're dancers, they know how to point their toes, right? But if they're yoga teachers, then they flex their feet. So, and each move that we do requires something different as well. So you know, it could be that, and that's just part of the cueing process. Is okay, well, if I'm cueing them, do they need a point or do they need a flex? And being a bass, you have to learn how to cue, you know, because you're the lead, right? This is you are taking your partner through a dance, and it's literally just like you were going out to go dance that night, and you take someone's hand, and well, it's your turn to lead as a bass. So usually the bass takes the lead, and they have to cue as well too. so that's part of learning it. But I want to thank y'all for coming back to the channel. Acro Flame Yoga. Like, comment,